welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be making a bathing suit cover. This is a made to measure pattern, so we will be working in multiples of 3 plus 5. Using a tape measure, measure around your bust to the nearest even number. I got 36 inches and then divide your number in half. So I have 18 inches. Make your chain long enough for your number, so 81 chains came out to 18 inches for me. 81 can be divided by 3 evenly, and then add 5. So my starting chain will be 86 chains. Starting in the 6th chain, make a treble crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and make a treble crochet into the next stitch. Repeat down the chain row, ending the row with a treble crochet. Chain 5 and turn your work. For row 2, skip the first chain space and then make a treble crochet into the next chain space. Chain 1 and then repeat this down the row. Make the last treble crochet into the 4th chain of the starting chain from the first row. Chain 5 and turn. You're going to repeat row 2 until you get the length that you want. You want it to meet at the top of your shoulders and then go down to about the top of your hips. We are going to start working on the shoulders, which will require some math because everybody's chains will be different. Decide how many chain spaces you want to cover your shoulders and add a stitch marker. I chose 10 chain spaces. Then you will multiply this number by 2 to get the amount of stitches that will be accounted for. So I'll have 20 stitches within this space. Repeat on the other side, adding your stitch marker to the chain space and then multiply by 2. This gives me 40 stitches for my shoulders, which is important to figure out how big I need to make my chain for the head hole. To figure out the chain needed for your head hole, take your starting chain number and subtract by 3. For me, 86 minus 3 equals 83. Now subtract the number of stitches that will cover your shoulders from the number you just got. So 83 minus 40 equals 43. And now I will make 43 chains for my head hole. Count your stitches to double check your math. Chain 5 and then turn your work. Skip the first chain space, make a treble crochet and then chain 1. Repeat this until you get to your stitch marker, making a treble crochet where you placed your stitch marker. Chain the amount that you calculated before starting this round. Mine was 43 chains. Treble crochet into the chain space with the second stitch marker and then chain 1. Continue making a treble crochet and chain 1 until the end of the row. Finish with a treble crochet into the 4th chain of the starting chain from the previous row. Try it on to make sure that it will fit your head, and if it does, then go ahead and chain 5 and then turn your work. Skip the first chain space and then make a treble crochet into the second one, chain 1, and then repeat into each chain space until you get to the chain row. Skip the first chain and then make a treble crochet into the second one. Continue to skip a chain and make a treble crochet down the chain row. Skip the last chain and then chain 1 and make a treble crochet into the first chain space. Continue into each chain space down the row, ending in the 4th chain of the starting chain from the previous row. Continue to do the exact same thing for the back side. Make sure that you have the same amount of rows from the front to the back. I had 22 rows before we did the shoulders, so I will make 21 more rows so that way they are the same amount. Fasten off with tail for sewing. Try your piece on and then use stitch markers to mark where you want your armholes to be, and then thread your darning needle. Begin to sew back and forth to connect the rows together. Keep sewing back and forth until you reach your stitch markers. Tie it off and then repeat on the other side. When you finish both sides, turn your work inside out so the seam is on the inside. To start the sleeves, make a slip knot and slip stitch into any chain space. Chain 8 and then slip stitch into the next chain space. Chain 8 and then slip stitch into the next chain space. Chain 8 and then slip stitch into the next chain space. Continue repeating this until you get back to the start of the row. To finish the row, chain 8 and slip stitch on top of the first set of chains. For the rest of the rows, it is going to be the exact same thing. You are going to chain 8 and slip stitch on top of the next set of chains. Use a stitch marker to help you know which row you are on. Fasten off after you have the amount of rows that you want. I made 11 rounds total. Repeat to make your other sleeve. To make the bottom half of your top, make a slip knot and slip stitch into any chain space along the bottom. We will be making this the same way that we made our sleeves. So chain 8, slip stitch into the next chain space. Repeat until you get to the start of the row. To finish the row, chain 8 and slip stitch on top of the first set of chains. For the rest of the rows, it is going to be the exact same thing. You are going to chain 8 and slip stitch on top of the next set of chains. Use a stitch marker to help you know which row you are on. Once you have your set of rows done, fasten off. I made 12 rows total. Turn your work inside out. Find your middle treble crochet post. This will be where we cinch. Using your darning needle, tie a long piece of yarn into the middle stitch from the 6th row from the neck hole. Skip a row and sew into the next row's middle stitch. Repeat this until about the 3rd row from the bottom and then cinch it together. Tie the strands together tightly to cinch, weave in all of your ends, and then you are done. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, make sure to check out the other tutorials on my page. Leave a comment about what colors you decided to use.
Bye bye.